In this video, I want to talk to you about writing an introduction for your Julius Caesar argument paper. Now, I mentioned in the previous video about body paragraphs that I actually recommend writing the bulk of your paper, the meat of your paper, the body, first. But once you've done that, you can come back and write your introduction, which a lot of times people find to be more difficult, but what I'm going to do in this video is give you kind of a formula that you can use to help you write a better introduction. Now, the thing about writing a paper about literature is you kind of have to give more information than you might think. Okay, when writing about literature, you need to assume that your audience has at least the same reading ability that as you do. You know, if you're in 10th grade, you're writing for 10th grade or above. If you're in 12th grade, you're writing for 12th grade and above. But you don't assume, even though you assume your reader has the same abilities as you don't assume that they've read what you have read. So you kind of have to backtrack before jumping right into your topic and give some basic background. You don't assume that they know everything there is to know about the work of literature. So with that in mind, with your introduction, you're going to kind of, it's an introduction, you introduce. You're going to go back and give some basics and some background before getting into your topic. So for this paper, Julius Caesar argument, the first sentence is kind of across the board for any essay where you're discussing literature. You need to include the name of the work as well as the author. Okay, so for us, it's Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. Okay, so at some point in that first sentence, you're going to say, in Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the same would be the case with anything you're writing about. If it's Animal Farm by George Orwell, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, in Othello by William Shakespeare, whatever it is you're writing about, it does need to be mentioned as well as the author. Okay, you're going to write at least one sentence telling something about the work of literature. Now, I know that sounds super vague, and it kind of is. You have some freedom to write what you want to say about the work of literature, what you find to be important, but that is kind of a summary statement, and it can be more than one sentence, but it's kind of, again, some background. What is it about? Who are the characters? What happens? Kind of your broad statements. Then you're going to kind of narrow your focus a little bit more. Okay, so here, here's your broad about the work of literature. Here's your narrowing down to the topic, but not quite your very specific claim. So here you're going to introduce the idea of leadership. Okay, so you have broad work of literature, narrow topic, and then even narrower, your very specific thesis statement should be the last sentence of the paragraph. Okay, so your formula is kind of broad, narrow, thesis. Broad topic, narrow topic, thesis. Okay, now let me give you an example of what that could look like for this paper. Actually, never mind. Let me give you some reminders about a thesis statement first. Okay, remember that the thesis statement needs to be specific. These are the same things we've talked about before with past research papers. That doesn't necessarily change with an argument. It does need to be specific. List the things you'll be discussing in each body paragraph in the order that those body paragraphs appear. Now that, if you've done your body paragraphs first, that's even easier. You know what the order is. And you're going to make your claim. So the example for this paper would be that, whatever character is the best leader in Julius Caesar because he, and then you list your 3 characteristics that you're going to discuss in the order you're going to discuss them. Now, you don't have to use this word for word. For example, the word best. Okay, use a thesaurus. Say something different. You can say so-and-so is the most efficient leader, or the most effective leader, or so-and-so is the most skilled in leadership, or something like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be specifically this, but this is just kind of your example. And now the example full introductory paragraph William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar portrays the story of Julius Caesar's assassination by a group of conspirators. In the play, many of the characters demonstrate important qualities of leadership. Although many characters possess leadership abilities, one character is clearly the best leader. Now, I am kind of making a claim there. It's just not my thesis, my specific claim. Mark Antony is the best leader in Julius Caesar because he is loyal, strategic, and a talented orator. Okay, so I've kind of color-coded it here. You can see that I included my work of literature and author. Let's see, I just had one sentence that was my background. You can have more. And actually, it was my narrowing of the topic before the thesis. That was more than one sentence. In the play, many characters have qualities of leadership, but here's one that is obviously the best. Okay, so that's kind of your introduction. This introduction, let's see, is 4 sentences. Okay, yours can definitely be more. I wouldn't make it any less. If you don't want to have 2 sentences about the idea of leadership, then maybe have 2 sentences where you tell a little bit more about what happens in the play. Okay, but this will hopefully get you started on writing your introductory paragraph for your Julius Caesar argument paper.